In this video, we're going to be looking once again into this book here. Lonely Planets. Where to go? When? I'm currently in the middle of a series whereby I showcase and discover this book at the same time. And month by month, we look at the places in the world and when is the best time to visit them. In today's video, we move on to May. So let's begin. I've been using this little ribbon here. It's handy because it's a little marker whereby I can remember where we got to at the end of every video. Getting towards the middle of the book now as we hit the 5th month of the year, May. Look at this spectacular photograph here. Looking down over the town of Kotor in the spectacular Bay of Kotor. And Kotor, of course, is in Montenegro. So let's begin. Montenegro. Why now? For rivers, seas and slopes at their most inviting, mini-sized Montenegro squeezes a lot of good stuff into its compact proportions. All the more reason to visit before peak season, as there's limited space to go round. In May, temperatures on the coast reach the mid-20 degrees Celsius, 70 Fahrenheit, and the sea warms up so you can happily hit dazzling Adriatic spots such as cliff-hugged Kotor and medieval Budva before the crowds descend. The ship comes into shore. Abruzzo, Italy. Why now? It's Primavera prime time. The central Italian region of Abruzzo is one of Italy's wildest, spread alongside the central Adriatic coast, where beach resorts such as Pescara and Vasto can be found. It rises up to the rugged Apennines to offer a quite different holiday experience. The mountains are snow-speckled, sliced by valleys, dotted with bougie medieval towns, and patrolled by wolves and bears. Bermuda. Why now? Pre-peak perfection on this Atlantic outpost. Bermuda is a magnificent oddball. It's marooned in the Atlantic, a 2-hour flight from East Coast United States of America, and 994 miles, 1,600 kilometres north of the Caribbean. Yet it's owned by Great Britain. Expect red postboxes, afternoon tea, croquet and cricket. The weather's not so British though. This semi-tropical island is spring-like in winter, December to February, 16 to 20 degrees centigrade, 61 to 68 Fahrenheit, edging towards 30 degrees centigrade, 86 Fahrenheit in summer. May is a marvel, warm and sunny enough to lounge on Bermuda's family-friendly pink sand beaches, but before tourist high season kicks in. Samoa. Why now? Drier, cheaper days in paradise. Simmering away in the tropical South Pacific. The Samoa archipelago is a remote piece of paradise, still embracing its traditional roots. The island's culture, dominated by the tenets of vast Samoa, the Samoan way, is as interesting as its seas are blue and its volcanic interior exotically profuse. Uzbekistan. Why now? For fine weather in a Silk Road showstopper. Caravanserais, Silk Road, spices. There's something undeniably romantic about travel to this stan, which has been the cultural heart of Central Asia for millennia. This is especially true of Uzbekistan's trio of historic cities: Samarkand, Bukhara, Khiva, which glitter with mosaic-tiled mausoleums, mosques and madrasas, religious schools, that still speak of ancient times. Bukhara's Silk and Spices Festival, late May, seeks to celebrate that legacy, showcasing the carpet weavers, wood carvers, musicians, and artists still practicing traditional skills. Komodo and Flores, Indonesia. Why now? Here be dragons and dry weather. A real-life Godzilla, the Komodo dragon, is the world's largest existing lizard, and it exists on only a handful of Indonesian islands. May is a great time to see them. Early in the dry season, the islands of Rinca and Komodo, the best places for sightings, are still green but less humid. It's before peak tourist season too. At this time, dragons are largely visible in open areas, however mating season is just beginning. They retreat to forests, so are more elusive, but witnessing dramatic fights between males is still possible. Reunion. Why now? To enter a Gallic lost world without the crowds. Rugged Réunion is the most topographically phenomenal department of France. Thrusting up from the Indian Ocean, this volcanic outcrop is closer to Madagascar than Marseille, more like Hawaii in its aesthetics, and a cultural mix of French, Creole, African and Asian influences. The result, a unique destination with fabulous fusion food. Some wonderful photography we have here. The picture-perfect town of Amalfi, Italy. The Panacea prola butterfly, one of the species found in the Peruvian Andes. A traditionally dressed Berber man standing proudly in front of his home. Amalfi Coast, Italy. Why now? To add extra zest to La Dolce Vita. The sparkling azure sea, the cliff-tumbling towns, the serpentine coast roads, the hellish traffic jams. Wait a minute. The Amalfi and Sorrentine coasts, south of Naples, and in sight of Mount Vesuvius, ooze Italian seaside glamour. You'll picture 1950s starlets in cat's-eye sunglasses wherever you look. But in high summer, the picturesque little roads grind to a standstill with chic seeking tourists. Come in spring instead, when driving between honeypot towns such as Sorrento, Positano and Ravello is less onerous, but the weather is still a delight. 24 degrees centigrade, 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Peru. Why now? To beat the crowds to Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu is probably the world's most bucket-listed site. Its precipitous location and mysterious purpose, coupled with the fact that it sat undiscovered for centuries, make for the most magical combination. It gets especially busy during Peru's drier season. Permits for the 4-day Inca Trail hike to Machu Picchu must be booked months in advance at this time, unless you go in May. May is the first dry month, but is outside traditional vacation season. temperatures in the high 20s, low 80s Fahrenheit. Not too oppressive for wandering the souks. Coastal Esauria is a refreshing 20 degrees C, 68 degrees Fahrenheit. The Sahara is hot, 30 degrees C, 86 Fahrenheit, but far more manageable than in July to August, which is 40 degrees C or 104 degrees Fahrenheit. The Valley of the Roses at the foot of the High Atlas Mountains is particularly pretty during its mid-May flower festival. The interior of Bilbo and Frodo Baggins' house on the Lord of the Rings film sets. The sublime shoreline of Lizard Point, Cornwall. North Island, New Zealand. Why now? Save big on a steamy drive. Good, quiet, scenic roads. Steeping in out-of-the-way places. The chance to go wherever the mood takes you. There are few better ways to explore New Zealand than by camper van. High summer seems best for a road trip, but hiring a camper outside peak season can go up to 50% cheaper. Autumnal May is a good halfway house. Lower prices, but still not too cold, and better driving conditions than in winter. Cornwall, England. Why now? Beat the crowds to Britain's best beaches. Cornwall has been called a magnificent frame around an ugly picture, which is overly harsh on the county's interior, but emphasises how astounding its edges are. This is the English coast at its wildest, most cliff-soaring best. There are whale sharks, world-class walks, smuggling intrigue, UNESCO-listed mining heritage, fishing villages, cream teas and pasties, castles, legends, and beaches to suit all sorts: surfers, hedonists, loners, artists, kids. Loire Valley, France. Why now? Castles without the crowds. No river is as resplendent as the Loire, draped in weeping willows, lined by vineyards, and flanked by a parade of chateaux, palaces, and pretty towns. It's in a class of its own. The history is rich. For instance, Joan of Arc links in Orleans, the royal tombs in Fontevraud Abbey. The wine and food is wonderful, from Michelin star restaurants to family hors plus in May, markets are full of strawberries and asparagus. West Coast, Norway. Why now? To sail the fjords in sunshine. Hurtigruten ferries ply Norway's 1,491 miles, 2,400 kilometres west coast, from Southerly Bergen to Arctic Kirkenes, 365 days a year. They are a lifeline this wild, fjord-serrated seaboard. So they must depart, whatever the weather. That said, May to June is a good time to visit. The weather is generally mild and days are extraordinarily long. By mid-May, the sun doesn't set at all in far north Tremoso. You can watch jaw-dropping scenery glide by all night long. Northern Queensland, Australia. Why now? Buckle up for a vibrant, varied road trip. The 1,243 mile or 2,000 kilometre Great Tropical Drive is a dramatic and diverse road trip that links northern Queensland's best bits from reef to rainforest. To fully embrace its tropicality, drive it in May. It's the first month of the dry season, which means little rain, slightly cooler temperatures, 28 degrees C, 82 degrees Fahrenheit, and accessible roads, but landscapes that are still vigorously green. Cappadocia, Turkey. Why now? The fairy chimneys are warming up. Mother Nature must have been in a whimsical mood when she sculpted the central Anatolian region of Cappadocia. Here, the soft, tough rock has been carved into fantastical ravines, tablelands, and turrets that would befit Mr. Disney. It's a magical place to explore. Kids especially will love it, and the warm but not so hot spring weather is ideal for activities. Israel. Why now? To explore and help out with fewer people. Israel is ideal in May. Visitor numbers are low, but averages of 26 degrees centigrade, 79 degrees Fahrenheit, and barely any rain are perfect for exploring everywhere, from the Dead Sea to the Sea of Galilee, from Technicolor Maktesh Ramon Canyon to Jerusalem's Temple Mount. It's the best month for hiking the country spanning Israel National Trail, and the hills and valleys are lush and the heat not punishing. Cuba. Havana streets are famed for their many classic 1950s American cars. Cuba. Why now? For Caribbean heat and hip action. If you like it hot in all manner of ways, choose Cuba in May. Technically, it's the first month of the wet, hot, low season on the coolest of Caribbean isles. But in reality, temperatures don't get uncomfortable until June, and heavy rains don't fall until late July. There are off-season bargains to be found too. With the mercury around 30 degrees centigrade, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, this is a good month for sun seekers. Try the Palm Suede Varadero Peninsula for all-inclusive resorts, many good for families, or head as 900 odd white sand cays. Combine beach time with sizzling salsa. There's no way better to watch or learn this hot, hip, shimming dance. And that, my friends, brings us to a close for another video in our series of where to go when. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's helped you in some way to relax. Thank you all very much indeed for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again in the next one.